Hello and welcome. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. Welcome to yet another episode of the Switch Show, and today I will be talking about beginnings, and the context or the topic for which I will be talking about is little steps. Little steps. First of all, let's define the word little. Little means small in size or small in amount. Steps could be the actions or the movements of the feet, or the movement made by the feet, the amount of distance covered by movements of the feet. Let me put it that way. That's a non-dictionary definition of steps. So little steps. I said I'm talking about beginnings. Little steps is it's more of what I say, talking about humility. I'm going towards the humility aspect of things, because a whole lot of the time, as things become rosier, as things get better, people do not appreciate humble beginnings. You know, the thing about this is that it sparks this stuff about beginnings is that it's so much, it's so huge, because not everybody had a rosy beginning, and not everybody wants to remember that beginning. But once you come out of that ditch and you become successful, that ditch was responsible for molding a good person, you know. But most of the time it doesn't work out that way, and it's saddening, it's sickening. It saddens my heart to see people not be able to come out of things that other people made out for them. But that's the way I'm heading to, little steps. It is a key component in the developmental stage of any system or person. Companies have little steps, humble beginnings, little beginnings. People have a start off point, have a pickup point. They have that particular point in time they decided to portray their vision, or bring their vision to life, or make that vision become a reality. Everybody has that point. Even growing up, you as a child was the beginning of a life that you're either going to live well, or let me just say, you live as you please. That's how it is. Usually a successful person will always say, never forget the days of humble beginnings. This statement packs a lot into it. This is because a lot of successful people and systems tend to underrate their little steps, or even downplay the littlest sacrifices they made on their way to the top. That whole phrase, or that whole sentence, or the whole statement I just said, it summarizes a lot, because people that tend to downplay the beginning of something. I was in my room, no big deal. What if you weren't in your room at that point in time when the idea popped into your head? What if you weren't with your pen and notebook? What if some of these things sound so stupid, but when you think about it, sometimes you tend to be grateful. Like, oh, I'm actually happy, I'm actually grateful that I was in this place at that point in time, because this is what sparked the inspiration. This is what fueled my imagination to essentially make a system or build up a strategy that was going to change the world forever. Take the likes of Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and Mark Zuckerberg, Warren, Amancio, the dude at Louis Vuitton, Bernard, a ton of other billionaires and multi-trillionaires you have out there in the world today. They all started from kind of a mediocre. Most of them started in a mediocre place. Everybody there thought that, what are you gonna do? I was opportune to get the story of how Google started, and if the people who downplayed Google's abilities had like a vision, or let me say they had some abilities to see the future, and they saw what Google is now, they saw it back then I'm telling you, they would have been a huge part of that investment. But nah, they don't just, yeah. And the thing about the statement of humble beginnings is that it doesn't just apply to successful people alone. They are it doesn't just, when I mean successful people here, because when people hear successful, they attach success with fame, so I want to drive that context here. So it doesn't just attain to the people that you see on your screens that are successful. Even the people that are not on the screens that are also successful, it applies to them. That you should not forget your humble beginnings. There are those people that strive for utmost accomplishment and satisfaction that do not take their little beginnings lightly. Well said. I think that explains itself. You can't fly to the top without taking off from a base. I'm usually one to make quotes. If you listen to my previous episodes on this podcast show, that I like to like drop nuggets in form of quotes and everything. You usually can't fly to the top without taking off from a base. I'm not saying, well, I haven't seen a case where you just fly. You most times you're grounded, even birds. And when people hear base, they think it's the ground, like ground level. No, a base is where you're standing at. The eagle that takes off from the mountaintop, where his claws or his tiny eagle legs are standing on, is a base. That is what base is here, not like the ground level, like just a couple of meters above sea level or below sea level. No, that's not the kind of ground I'm talking about, or that's not the kind of base I'm talking about. I'm talking about a base, a standing, a platform. Helicopters have to land on the helipad and they take off from a helipad. Planes have to gather momentum through speed as they drive through the runway. Birds, even the birds in the air, come back down to find their sustenance. Then I talk about base here as regards to how eagles and falcons, they're like tens of thousands of feet above sea level, and they go with this in fantastic dive speed. They get their prey, fishes, rodents, reptiles, and the likes of them. They still come back down to the base to find something that they're gonna use to survive. This implies that the ground or the base is critical to survival or sustenance. Because if you didn't have a starting point, then then there is no middle or an end. There is that's what it is. Even if I were to take it in the context of literature, in literature, they have this sequence that follows in prose writings. Your novels that you read, they have the beginning, the middle, and the end. There could be twist, beginning, middle, a twist, the end. It could start from the middle, it could start from the end, a could start from the twist, it could start from anywhere, but wherever it starts from, that is the starting point. So a starting point is required. So if you do not have a starting point, then there's nothing to be sustained. And how are you going to survive if you don't got a starting point? No matter how high a ladder stretches, it would not stand without its base. You all have seen a ladder. There is no ladder that suspends in the air. Well, that's until scientists would try to prove statements wrong by creating anti-gravity ladders. Regardless of that, when that happens, fantastic. But regardless of that, a ladder is always put on the floor, always stays on its base and extends. So you don't throw a ladder in the air and climb it. You're going to fall and lose all of your teeth. That is how it is with success and little beginnings. You know where you're standing and you extend from there and keep going. And the people that are coming behind you, you need to be a sturdy, a rigid support for them. You don't just get to the top and forget everyone. Remember, help people, stretch out that hand, be the ladder for people to also climb to the top. Don't just jump at success and forget about how grounded you were. The essence of remembering your humble beginnings is to see more reasons to be grateful for where you are at now. I've said this from the beginning. Remembering your humble beginnings. I say humble beginnings, and remembering the little steps and sacrifices you made makes you to be more grateful for where you are at now, and makes you more grateful for where you're gonna be. You need to think about it. At the end note of this is every mountain was once a molehill. You need to think about it. The beginning might be corrupt. The beginning might sometimes the beginnings, when you start at the beginning, it gets to a time that things just flip. But what I want to let you know is that you need to flip what has been flipped and change the narrative, or continue with the narrative and be the best version of yourself. You don't owe nobody an explanation for being the best. You just have to be the best. You got to be the best. I talked about cultural illusion, that you shouldn't feed trolls. That is how it is. People will question how you started, but you know how you started. Even if at some point it was truncated or it was affected or there's some blemish on it, you need to keep pushing, you need to keep fighting and keep winning and keep being the best that you can. Yes, that's it. So I hope you grab a thing or two from this, and I sincerely hope that you'll remember where you're starting from. This is also a message to me as a new podcaster, as a podcaster that is new to the game, because I'm just a year in. There's a ton of years ahead of me, so I also have to remember how I started. Sitting in my bedroom and recording podcasts in Nigeria. So I also have to remember that. So yeah, stay tuned for more episodes and keep winning, keep shining, never stop learning, and yeah, flip that switch and illuminate. God bless you all.